This has been an absolutely crazy year for drama. I was gonna make a video about how Logan Paul is suing CoffeeZilla, but then I noticed that a lot of people were watching this video here. 90,000 concurrent people were watching this video. A video made by the YouTube channel Dogpack404. 2 weeks ago, this YouTube channel posted a video and it has 11 million views right now, and it was called "I Work for MrBeast, He's a Fraud." And he talks about how the videos used to be authentic, but then as the videos got bigger, he started putting his employees and people he knew into the videos, and it was all very fabricated. But now this guy posted another 50-minute video called "I Work for MrBeast, He's a Sociopath." And in this video, he talks about how MrBeast had PDF files on his team, as you can see here. And in this video, he interviews another ex-MrBeast employee. And what that ex-employee has to say is scathing. So I'm gonna go through this and I'm gonna try and summarize it as best as I can, because I sat here and I watched the 50 minutes. So I'm gonna talk about everything that happened in this video.
A lot has happened since my last video. After posting it, I got hundreds of messages from former MrBeast employees, and I had them all send proof of former employment. Just people showing their support or telling their stories of fake videos or unsafe practices, toxic workplace, stuff like that.
So in the beginning, he does like a little content cop sketch, talks about how other ex-employees reached out to him after the first video that he made talking about their stories. But I want to go ahead and fast forward to the interview, which begins right here.
Most people who, if you know me from MrBeast, I'm a deep cut. I'm in a few of the videos, sometimes maybe purposefully kept to the shadows a little bit. I'm in the cutting room floor a lot of the time. But I've been in some videos. I've worked on a lot of them. I was there from 2019 to 2020, 2021-ish when I came back and did some more. I was there when they were authentic, and then I saw the transition to what I feel like is a company. He's like a TV show now. It went from YouTuber guy with a camera to Amazon. The culture around there was very unspoken, but there was a vibe. There was half the people who, if you made Jimmy happy, you were on the good half, and these people got random bonuses and were usually moved up, had more screen time. And then there was people who, if you had a disagreement or butt heads with Jimmy or just you didn't like it, you were the other half. And I consistently was in the half that Jimmy doesn't like me. That's fine. I don't like him either. It's okay. Oh, that feels so good to say. I don't like Jimmy. I hate you so much. He didn't want anyone to get more popular or have more of a way out necessarily. Like, oh, I'm doing my Twitch thing on the side. Don't do that because you could get famous and leave and talk about me negatively. And I could tell that the yes men were, doing well. And I was, disgruntled for quite some time.
Jake Weddle, the ex-MrBeast employee, has talked previously in a video on his own channel called "Jake Weddle Breaks Silence on Ava Tyson MrBeast Scandal." But the video didn't get very many views. 8 days ago, 2.8 thousand views. Doesn't seem like many people watched it. So maybe this is the way for him to get more eyes on his situation. Or maybe he's just disgruntled and he just wants to get at MrBeast. I don't know. So Jake Weddle talks about the video that he was on with MrBeast, and then he talks about the reason why he left in the first place, which was because he wasn't making that much money.
If I was working on a TV show in the 90s, on a show that was a quarter as successful, I could retire today. But now I make dog shit pay, making gajillionaires more money. And I just walked into the writer's room, and that's one of the reasons why I left, was because I just walked in there and asked for not necessarily a gajillion dollars, but maybe a salary that was more proportional to the work I was doing, given how much revenue that work was doing. And then, I talked about that.
And then Jake talks about how he was working with another writer who was an older black gentleman who had a child, and he was making more money than him. And he tried to advocate for both of them to make more money. And when he did, they both got canned.
Yeah, I was talking to this other writer, it's fucked up, that's how the pay is, and I want you to get paid more, because you deserve to get paid more. I don't have a kid. And he didn't want to rock the boat. He desperately didn't want to rock the boat. He's just, I like my job. I like, because when you grow up with, nothing, not to say that he did, but I know I did, You get a little something, you don't want to lose it. So he didn't want to rock the boat. But he said, hey man, if that's how you feel, if that's I trust you. He stood with me. He went to that meeting with me. And I said my piece, and he backed me up. And I said, I need XYZ or I'm out of here. And they said, bet. And they gave me a severance check the next day. and they gave him a severance check the next day. And if I knew he was going to lose his job too, I wouldn't have done it.
I don't know if you know this, but there's a lot of videos that MrBeast makes, and he thinks that it's not going to perform well on YouTube, so he doesn't release it. I know Gideon said that he did a video with MrBeast and they scrapped it. But Jake talks about a video that he did that never aired because it didn't go well.
There was one video I was in. I got paid a lot for it, but it didn't come out. It didn't come out because it didn't go well. There was a video that came out probably like a year ago, something like that. It got a lot of hot water when it came out. It was the like surviving like $10,000 every day you survive in solitary, or surviving solitary for whatever. It was like one of those solitary confinement videos that got a lot of media attention because everybody saw the premise and thought, what? You shouldn't do that. And people don't know that was the second attempt. The first attempt was on me, and it didn't go well. And they tell me the pitch, and they try to make the pitch sound like it's gonna be like a walk in the park. The pitch is 100 days in solitary confinement, but don't worry, like you only have to last like 30. We have like a video. They're pitching it like at first it's gonna be like a luxury vacation. You're gonna have like a hot tub and an ice cream machine, and like part of the video is gonna be you deciding like what items am I gonna get rid of, today, and they had like the choice. They were like, it's only gonna be bad for you to last like 5 days tops when you have like nothing left. You're the first. It's gonna be like a breeze for most of it, and by the end of it, after 30 days, you're gonna get $300,000 because it's $10,000 a day. I said, can we like have like nighttime hours? And they said no, because it would fuck up the time-lapse shots.
Oh
the time-lapse
of
what, me sleeping? Or me not sleeping? Yeah, I saw in other videos they did like, oh, you're gonna get XYZ hours of sunlight. Oh, great! Want to know how they figured that one out? I didn't have it. One of the things was you got to take away your clock, so you didn't know what time it was. Okay, I got no access to sun. I got no access to clock. I don't know, like... The lights are on me all the time. I wasn't sleeping. I could not sleep, and I have insomnia problems now. But they might have started there.
MrBeast has done many solitary confinement videos since his, so I'm pretty sure he was the guinea pig for future videos. They were doing some trial and error.
Sometimes he'd have a note for the director over the phone that would really piss me off. This is a note I got from the director, from Jimmy, when I'm receiving some cash. He said, Jimmy said, can you say to the camera how thankful you are that now you can pay back your student loans?
What?
You know how hard it was to do a take of that?
He also talks about the pressure that he faced even being in these videos because he didn't want to say no, he didn't want to refuse the money, and essentially let down the Beast team.
Did you try to say no? Like, did you have a choice, or?
Based on the Rubik's Cube thing and based on all the other stuff, like there was so much pressure to just do it, just do the thing, And if I refuse, it's just, oh, that's the whole video. I guess the budget's, so much money up in flames because Jake said he wouldn't want to do the thing. I was not having a good time, but we were filming a video, so I was trying my best to be funny.
So that was the interview portion. That was like 30 minutes long. I didn't obviously include the entire thing, but...
He turns around, he stands up. He does the exact same thing when he's pretending to have a human connection. When you're watching a video and he's like, oh, stop, you're gonna make me cry. And he like touches his eye or whatever as if he's crying. He's just...
It was mainly about the videos that he was a part of and how he was treated while he was on those videos. This next part is text messages that he got from Jake after the interview, and also more damning evidence against MrBeast.
So I just want to hop in here and show some text that Jake sent me after this interview. This is July 29, 2021, a few days after he got out of solitary.
Jake says, hey, I'm all good. Remember, this is after the video that he did. I'm not exactly 100%. I feel like mentally I'm still recovering a bit. I'm back in therapy and my therapist is concerned. My legs and joints feel better, like I can walk. One of the challenges he had to do was run on a treadmill for an extended period of time. That's why he says his legs and joints feel better. Mentally, I'm still kinda in a place. I still can't sleep. I've slept 5 hours in the past 3 days, marathon included. I don't know what's wrong with me. And the person that he was talking to says there just needs to be off-camera breaks. I mean, just that. I mean, not just that, but there needs to be some sort of humanizing aspect. And he says, off-camera breaks, lights off at night, visitation, take the marathon out. Marathon is a video in itself. You can't expect someone to exert themselves like that for 45 seconds of content. The challenges really made it feel dehumanizing. Felt like a parody of MrBeast. I felt like the homeless guy they could exploit. This part is weird because he shows an internal document called How to Succeed in MrBeast Production. And it reminds me of like this old sales tactic. The ABCs, always be closing, where basically they don't take no for an answer. You knock on someone's door and you're trying to sell them a water heater or something like that. Don't take no for an answer. Just keep pushing until you get the sale. And I'll let him explain it.
I want to show this segment from an internal document at MrBeast called How to Succeed in MrBeast Production. Specifically on page 19, there's a paragraph called No does not mean no. Already insane, because it seems to be co-opting the popular anti slogan, which is a terrible look given the allegations that are going to be coming out very soon. It reads, when dealing with people outside MrBeast Productions, never take no at face value.
What?
If we need a store to buy everything inside of, and you can call the local Dollar Tree, and the person that answers says, no, you can't film here, that literally doesn't mean shit. Talk to other employees and see if they are fans or if any have kids that are fans. Try talking to their boss's boss. Have me DM them on Twitter and try their social team. If all avenues are exhausted and you are left with a no, that doesn't mean don't try the other Dollar Trees because the manager of those could be huge fans and willing to bend the rules. Basically what I'm trying to convey is what we call pushing through no. Don't stop because one person told you no. Stop when all conceivable options are exhausted. This is one of many tools that when combined dramatically improve your probability of success when producing here. They're financially incentivized to be manipulative and they're put in positions where it's like, oh, it's either the producer's job or a civilian's job, like where it talks about, hey, maybe the manager would be willing to bend the rules. Well, you shouldn't really be pressuring civilians to bend the rules that could get them fired, you know? I'll show you a real life example. This is unused evidence from part 1. I had seen this Reddit post titled MrBeast leaving trash behind and debris at film site in Aden, North Carolina.
I live around MrBeast's area and have been hearing lots of talk about him leaving trash and debris behind at his previous filming locations. I know someone very closely who works at the camp where he filmed a few of his last videos that featured destruction and some explosions. Oh, I've seen those videos. Apparently, he left a large boat in the pond as well as debris around the film site and the bottom of the pond weeks and weeks after the agreed time frame. This actually rendered it unsafe for campers and almost delayed the camp's opening date multiple times due to not being able to get in contact with MrBeast to get the stuff cleaned up and out of the area. Eventually, the boat and most of the debris was removed after constantly asking him when/if he would come out to clean it up. There are still lots of items that can be found at the bottom of the pond if you dive.
This is from a MrBeast video called Protect the Yacht, Keep It, where at the end of that video, he actually says,
If you're wondering, yes, we did ensure the lake was completely cleaned up after this video. For the love of God, subscribe so we can pass T-Series.
Yeah, so he says at the end of the video that they made sure it was cleaned up. I was actually on site for part of this production. I was at this camp. So I decided to send an email out to the camp, basically saying, hey, I heard these rumors. I'm investigating a similar incidents. And the camp responded, actually not denying the claims, going on to say, I am sure that there are no perfect film productions, just as there are no perfect people. I am grateful for the opportunity that we had to host the production crew, and because grace or forgiveness has been offered to me so freely, I will choose to offer the same. So clearly alluding to the fact that there was a wrongdoing by MrBeast production team.
Right.
And that's like sort of the thing is, if you're around Greenville, you know these stories of people working with MrBeast and it being extremely unprofessional, them not doing what they say, but they sort of get by a lot on their good public image. And like, I mean, this camp offered to host them completely for free. And I guarantee, like, if you went to the lake at the camp and you went magnet fishing, like, you'd find all sorts of debris that's still there to this day. Like, they didn't clean it all up.
This end part, they talk about another employee of MrBeast who is on the sex offender registry.
Outside of it, Chris Tyson, did you ever hear about any sexual misconduct at the company?
Here it is.
I've heard rumors. I can't confirm or deny anything. I don't have any tangible evidence, but I've heard stuff If it could be investigated, that'd be great. But it's like water cooler talk. But I've heard things, yes, of course. I heard, people have been let go for sexually assaulting some very young people. The idea that Jimmy didn't know, or that Jimmy was covering stuff up. He didn't want stuff to come out. He's very careful about his image. The tangible proof that he knew but covered it up. How do you prove that, Well, there was a known sex offender who worked there. From what I hear, I can't confirm or deny, from what I hear, he's on the registry for doing some not great stuff to some underage people. And they knew that. He's working at a channel that has underage people on and around and is targeted to underage people. And they covered up the fact that not only did he work there, but he was like the manager when it all started.
Oh, man.
And that he knew, and because he'll be in videos, he'll be in thumbnails, he'll be around. And whenever he is, he's wearing a mask. Why would you wear a mask? Why would you consider?
Oh my gosh. I wasn't watching MrBeast back then, so I don't know who this is. But that makes a lot of sense.
Your face. It's like, what are you concealing? That you are a registered sex offender? And that your face can be looked up on a thing? How much more can you literally cover up a sex offender? But when I was there, they called him Delaware. It's like, why do you call him Delaware? I didn't know. Apparently they called him Delaware because he's not allowed to go back to Delaware.
If somehow Jimmy didn't know about Delaware, I think it's still such an extreme level of negligence. Like, what, you're not doing background checks. Everyone at your company knows, but somehow you don't know.
I work for MrBeast and he's a sociopath. The video ends right there. And the main gist of the video was Jake Weddle, who used to be a former employee who had a terrible time working for MrBeast. And then at the very end, talking about the person who was a registered sex offender that was on MrBeast's team. And he may or may not have known about it. But what are people saying about this? Anyone else feel terrible for Jake? He did not deserve that type of treatment. 1 month ago, wow, MrBeast is such a good human. After this video, wow, MrBeast committed a legit war crime. Yeah, and they're referring to the part of the video where Jake said that he wasn't allowed to sleep with the lights off. They just had the lights on at all times.
I had a lot of good people looking out for me saying, this, we gotta stop. So I just wanted to turn the lights off. And I'm vocalizing to people, I wish the lights would turn off. And I go up to my friend, my good friend. And I go, they're not turning the lights off. He goes, what? That's a war crime. We're not allowed to do that to terrorists.
This video is about to become YouTube history. Internet anarchist, what are you doing here? Starting to think MrBeast is an IRL version of Squid Game, straight up abusing poorer people for entertainment. Are we really just figuring this out? Come on. But that's about it. If you want to watch the entire video, it was much longer, the stories were longer, and it's on Dogpack 404's channel. That's it. Thank you.